In a landmark decision that will reverberate for years to come, the Supreme Court has struck down President Trump's sweeping tariffs, sending shockwaves through the nation's political and economic landscape. This historic ruling delivers a powerful check on presidential authority, reaffirming the fundamental principle that no single branch of government can act without limits. The court's decision dismantles a central pillar of the America First economic agenda, declaring that the president overstepped constitutional bounds by invoking emergency powers to levy a massive tax on imports, an action that affected nearly every sector of the U.S. economy. This seismic event will immediately impact businesses, consumers, and the delicate balance of power between the White House and Congress. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are now grappling with the implications, as industries and workers brace for rapid changes. The court found that the law was never meant to give the executive branch a blank check to rewrite trade policy at will. Instead, it emphasized the importance of congressional oversight and the need for clear limits on executive action. Businesses are now lining up for what could be the largest government refund in history, as companies seek to recover billions paid under the now invalidated tariffs. Legal teams are preparing for a wave of claims, and financial analysts are recalculating forecasts. Meanwhile, economists predict that consumers could soon see lower prices on everyday goods, from electronics to groceries, as the cost of imports drops. The ripple effects are expected to reach households across the country. At the same time, shifts in the job market are anticipated, with some industries poised for growth while others may face new challenges as global supply chains adjust to the new reality. The Supreme Court has drawn a clear line in the sand, ending one chapter and beginning another in the ongoing battle over American economic policy, a decision that will shape the nation's future for generations. To understand the Supreme Court's decision, let's first clarify what a tariff is, how it works, and why it's such a significant tool in international trade and U.S. economic policy. Tariffs have been a part of American history since the country's founding, shaping the way the U.S. interacts with the rest of the world. But what exactly are they? And why do they matter so much in today's global economy? A tariff is essentially a tax placed on goods that are brought into the country from abroad. When a company wants to import products into the U.S., it must pay this tax before the goods can be sold to American consumers. This extra cost makes imported products more expensive compared to those made domestically, and it can influence what people buy and what businesses choose to sell. Tariffs serve two main purposes. First, they help raise revenue for the government, providing funds that can be used for public services and infrastructure. This was especially important in the early days of the U.S., before income taxes existed. Second, tariffs are designed to protect domestic industries by making foreign goods less competitive. By increasing the price of imports, tariffs encourage consumers and businesses to buy American-made products, supporting local jobs and manufacturing. However, while tariffs can help shield local jobs and industries, they often come with a downside: higher prices for everyday consumers. When the cost of imported goods rises, so do the prices on store shelves, affecting everything from electronics to groceries. Businesses that rely on imported materials or products also face increased costs, which can lead to difficult decisions, like raising prices, cutting jobs, or even moving operations overseas to stay competitive. The Trump administration took tariffs a step further, using them not just to protect American industries, but as a powerful tool to pressure other countries, especially China and Mexico, into changing their trade practices and negotiating new deals. One of the administration's main goals was to reduce the U.S. trade deficit, the gap between what America imports and what it exports. By making imports more expensive, the hope was to encourage more domestic production and exports. This sweeping use of tariffs as a form of economic leverage was unprecedented in modern times and sparked intense debate. Supporters argued it was necessary to protect American interests, while critics warned of trade wars and economic harm. Ultimately, the Supreme Court stepped in and rejected this broad approach, ruling that using tariffs as a sweeping economic weapon exceeded the president's authority under the law. The decision reaffirms a fundamental principle: only Congress, not the president, has the power to impose nationwide taxes like tariffs, ensuring a balance of power in how America manages its economic relationships with the world. President Trump's tariffs were built on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA, a law meant for national security crises. Historically, IEPA was used to freeze assets or sanction hostile regimes, not to overhaul trade policy. In 2025, Trump declared drug trafficking and the trade deficit as national emergencies, using IEPA to impose tariffs on nearly all imports. This bypassed Congress, raising constitutional alarms. The administration argued IEPA allowed the president to tax imports, but critics said this was a dangerous overreach. The Supreme Court agreed, ruling that IEPA was never intended as a tool for sweeping economic policy changes. The decision restores Congress's primary role in trade and taxation. The era of unilateral tariff wars is over, at least for now. The tariffs hit American businesses hard, from small shops to major corporations, driving up costs and threatening jobs. This economic pain united a coalition of businesses and states who argued the president had usurped Congress's constitutional power to tax. Their lawsuit claimed IEPA doesn't authorize the president to create a massive new tax regime. They presented evidence of layoffs, halted investments, and bankruptcies, arguing the tariffs destabilize the economy. Their powerful narrative, combining constitutional principle with real-world harm, set the stage for a dramatic Supreme Court showdown. At the Supreme Court, justices from both sides of the spectrum expressed deep skepticism about the administration's arguments. Chief Justice Roberts questioned whether the president could declare any economic issue an emergency and impose tariffs at will. Even Trump's appointees doubted the legality of such sweeping executive power. Justice Barrett highlighted the indiscriminate nature of the tariffs, while Justice Sotomayor bluntly called tariffs what they are: taxes. The administration's defense, that regulating trade includes imposing duties, failed to convince the court. The justices repeatedly returned to the unprecedented scale and nature of the tariffs. The hearing made clear, the legal foundation for the tariffs was crumbling. With the tariffs struck down, the government now faces the daunting task of refunding over $100 billion collected from importers. The process will be complex, slow, and contentious, with businesses scrambling to claim their share. Refunds go to importers, not consumers, raising concerns about corporate windfalls for companies that passed costs to customers. The administrative burden on Customs and Border Protection will be immense, likely sparking further litigation. For some businesses, refunds will be a lifeline. For others, an unexpected profit. The fairness of the process is already under debate, but legally, the money goes to those who paid at the border. The aftermath promises a new wave of economic and legal turmoil. The human cost of the tariffs was felt most by small businesses, who lacked the resources to absorb sudden cost increases. Entrepreneurs like Sarah Wells, whose company was hit with unexpected duties, faced devastating financial blows, halting imports, laying off staff, and freezing growth. Across the country, similar stories played out. Furniture stores, bike shops, and contractors all struggled to survive. For these owners, tariffs weren't abstract policy, they were existential threats. Their stories became the emotional core of the legal challenge, showing the real-world harm behind the constitutional debate. The Supreme Court's decision is more than a legal victory. For many, it's a lifeline. The ruling offers hope for recovery and a return to stability for America's small businesses. The Supreme Court's decision closes one chapter in the ongoing debate over American trade policy, but it also marks the beginning of a new and uncertain era. The ruling has sent shockwaves through Washington, forcing policymakers to reconsider their strategies and priorities. As the White House scrambles for new ways to pursue its trade agenda, officials are weighing a range of options, from negotiating fresh agreements to seeking new legislative authority. The administration faces mounting pressure to deliver results, but the path forward is anything but clear. While alternative trade laws exist, each comes with significant hurdles, complex legal requirements, political opposition, and the risk of unintended consequences. Navigating this legal maze will require careful planning and bipartisan cooperation, both of which are in short supply. Any new approach would likely trigger fresh legal battles, as interest groups and political opponents challenge the administration's authority in court. The legal landscape is shifting and uncertainty looms over every potential move. Most economists expect the end of the tariffs to lower prices for everyday goods, from groceries to electronics. This could provide much-needed relief to American families who have felt the pinch of rising costs in recent years. With families potentially saving up to $1,000 a year, consumer spending could get a significant boost. This extra money in people's pockets may help drive economic growth and support local businesses across the country. Businesses reliant on imports will see costs drop, spurring investment and hiring. Lower input prices could make American companies more competitive, encouraging expansion and innovation in sectors from manufacturing to retail. The ruling sends a clear message. The president cannot use vague emergency powers to set economic policy alone. This decision reaffirms the importance of checks and balances in the American system of government. Congress may now be forced to clarify trade laws, stepping up to provide more explicit guidance on when and how tariffs can be imposed. Lawmakers face a critical test of their willingness to reclaim authority over trade policy. By reasserting its constitutional role, Congress could reshape the balance of power between the legislative and executive branches, setting new precedents for future administrations. The Supreme Court has reset the board, striking a blow for the separation of powers and reminding all branches of government of their distinct responsibilities. The future of American trade policy now depends on whether the political system can forge a stable path forward, one that balances economic growth, legal clarity, and the interests of American workers and families.